meat and curry, I'm your man. Cause how we all lose it is a mystery. It's like the changing of our wardrobes from a dire history. But it's the one making us not stop. 50 kilograms is all we've got to drop. La 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 la, la 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 la.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's 50kg Drop podcast. Joining me today, and apologies from all the other hosts, but they are busy on work calls. But I am joined with a very special guest, Kat Merchant. Kat, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Kat, you're a bit of a celebrity, I've read.
Well, read somewhere. Well, you're not a rugby fan, are you? So
I'm
I'll
not a rugby
forgive you
fan, no.
for not knowing. But yeah, got a pretty solid rugby background. Yeah.
So I always put the guests that we have into the community we've got to see if anyone has any questions to ask, and it was a full-time job getting all the questions down. Everyone had loads of questions to ask you. So for the listeners' purposes, and definitely for mine, can you go into your kind of background, sporting achievements, that sort of stuff?
Yeah, sure. I'll start at the top. So I won the World Cup in 2014 with England. So that was a top achievement, which obviously you don't start with, but that was the pinnacle. Got 58 caps for England, 44 tries, and many Six Nations as well in that, and won the Premiership with Worcester in 2013. So that's my rugby accolades, and now I coach rugby, level 4 coach, level 3 personal trainer, and got my own fitness business, Thrive. So yeah, pretty busy. Yeah.
That's not a bad CV. It's better than I checked out double 2 at darts last night, I think, which is my sporting achievements. With all guests, I like to get kind of an understanding of how that all came about, because everyone's got different paths and everything into their careers. But where did it all kind of start for you?
Yeah.
And like, how did you end up on this like crazy rugby career?
Yeah, so I did gymnastics as a kid, and it was at a point where they were like, I think you're going to get too tall to like make it, as in to be kind of good at gymnastics. And I tried to find other sports, and there was just nothing that I particularly fell in love with. And my dad had been nagging at me for ages, try rugby, try rugby, try rugby. And I was like, I don't want to try rugby. Like, I just, in my head, I was like, gonna be big girls, and it's just not for me, because I was a skinny little thing. And then eventually, mainly I think to keep him quiet, I went along to a rugby session at Worcester Rugby Club at 14 years old, and I never looked back. I did one session, fell in love with it. I was like, this is absolutely for me. I think the strength that I gained from gymnastics translated really well into rugby and helped that I was quick. So naturally kind of fell into like wing, which was great. And yeah, honestly, from then on, 2 nights a week, playing every weekend, like that was me. That was my journey until I retired.
I've got like a strange relationship with rugby, because I went to a school where rugby was the number 1 sport. I was 6'4", always a portly gentleman coming through, and they made me play prop, which I could have been playing anywhere. My interest in rugby was never big, but as a school they were really like obsessed with it. So I think I always had this kind of like air of disappointment about me, because I was built for the sport but didn't want to be part of it. I wanted to play football, really. So for me it was kind of like a too much running for me to ever enjoy it. Right?
Yes. Yeah.
But so you joined at 14, you ended up becoming England player, winning the World Cup, that sort of stuff. Is that quite common in the female game? Is it a late starting sport, or
not anymore? Not anymore, no. Because I'm 38 now, so like we're talking a while ago when I was 14 and starting. So people started rugby my age, 16. Some people even started at uni. Now there's girls coming through who have started at 5, 6. Like it's now a lot more out there in terms of whether you're playing tag or touch at school. And then there's just more rugby clubs around that have strong girls and women's sections, and you only have to look at it in terms of the like spectators. In 2010 we had a home World Cup and we had 15,000 people at the Stoop to come and watch for a World Cup final in England. World Cup next year is in England, and already they've sold like 50,000 tickets to Twickenham or something crazy. So it's like it's huge, and the following is there, and so I'd say not many stories will be someone starting as late as I did and going on to it, but at the time it just wasn't really it. People would still go, oh, do women play rugby? Like when I said I'd played rugby, whereas now if I say anything about rugby, they're like, oh yeah, I know so and so, and she's really great, and aren't England Red Roses doing well? And it's just a known thing, and it's great. And I do rugby commentary now, so I do a lot with Five Live. So I go to games, commentate on them, and it still gives me goosebumps when I look around and it's sellout stadiums, and it's brilliant. It's just great to still be part of it.
And what was it like winning the World Cup?
Amazing. Yeah. Although I'll say this, like the first feeling, you imagine, like, because people go play like it's the World Cup final and they talk about that. You don't enjoy a single minute of it until the end. You don't like it's very stressful. And yeah, it's a weird feeling, because I think because I'd played in two Sevens World Cup and a 15s World Cup before this one. And the first genuine reaction when the final whistle went for me was relief. It was like, we haven't lost. That was the first genuine emotion, and I think a lot of the other girls had the same. And then after that, you're like, oh, okay, like now we can be like glad and excited, and we've done this amazing thing. And I don't think we realized how big it was at the time, because since then England have been so dominant, and they've gone to World Cups and they've not won them. And so for us, we were like, oh wow, actually, like we just like, I don't know, I don't think we realized how big it was until we'd done it. And yeah, it was yeah, incredible feeling.
Do you think that was part of the success, that there wasn't like a well, I'm talking without any knowledge of the time.
No, go for it. Yeah.
That there wasn't like a huge expectation or anything, or was it where you kind of
We were still favourites, I'd say. Like England have always been dominant. I think that New Zealand just win World Cups very well. So like England, like last in 2022, because of COVID, it got moved back a year. England went and they beat New Zealand 50 points the year before, and then in the World Cup final, New Zealand win. So it's one of those where you're like, but I think there's always been a sort of expectation and a pressure on England to deliver. But for me as well, that final was all kind of, I knew ahead of that game it was my final game, which was because I was 28 years old and I'd had a lot of concussions. And I sort of got told to retire medically sort of before, and I was like, I'm not going to retire before just before a World Cup, so I'll just deal with it later. And so I had to pretend to myself that it wasn't the last time I was ever going to put boots on, it wasn't the last game I was going to play, because otherwise you just lose your head and you wouldn't play to the best of your ability. So when that final whistle went, I had relief. I had, oh, that was my last game. And then I was like, I've just won a World Cup. So it just, there was so much going on in my head that it was, yeah, a very special moment.
and the concussions, was that purely rugby related, or is there did you have any kind of underlying history with head injuries or anything before?
No, I'd had one as a kid, but other than that, they were all rugby. They were like, I think at 16, I had my first rugby one where I ran to chase a kick off and just got like, I got because now you wouldn't play until you're a bit older, but I'm 16 years old, I'm playing for the first team, and I'm there like on this skinny little quick thing, and it was the kickoff, and the coach was like, go get her, like you smash her, like get her. And I was like, yeah, and like ran, and sort of I think like she just dropped her body height as I went in, and then so we just hit heads, and then I was like knocked out before it even hit the floor. And then from then they were quite spread out across my career, but then towards the end of playing career they were happening more often, and I was out for much longer. So like the recovery for my just before World Cup was 4 months. I was out of action, doing anything, playing, training, and like even things like doing computer work or doing anything like that, like reading, being around noise and lights, I found very difficult. So it was a really tough time. So I think it was definitely the right decision, 100% to retire, especially given what people know now about concussions that we didn't know at the time then. A strange time in some ways, but in other ways I got to play in a final, whereas now I don't think a player with the amount of concussions I had would have got to playing as long as I did. I think they'd have been cut earlier.
There's a lot of research into is it CET?
Yeah,
The kind of
afterwards, the
long
CT, yeah.
CT,
Yeah, I
yeah.
think the post-concussive syndrome is part of it. And then, there's a scan for like, but they can only check basically after you've died. So it's not something they can check at the time.
Yeah, because I listen to a lot of boxing podcasts, and they're
Yeah,
talking about
yeah,
the preventative measures of that, and they were talking about the kind of bigger gloves being a problem because that
yeah,
constantly rattles the brain
yeah.
inside the skull and stuff. Do you think there's a way to prevent head injuries in sport, and do you see that changing at all with
Yes, so
the
rugby
times?
are really leading the way in that, and they're bringing in laws and trial laws and changing things to try and make the game safer. And there's new technology in terms of like gum shields, and it can recognize the force that you've been hit with, and they can bring you off if they see that those measures have been hit. Tackle height, red cards being for anything now. If you hit the head, like I think the game was so different when I was playing it, and because I look back at old photos, like when people are like, oh, kind of like if they need a photo for something, you're looking back, and then I'm being hit in the head by about 3 different angles, and it's not even a card back then. It was just like, wow, it's just rugby. So whereas the game now is changed a lot, and for the better, and for the safer, which is always good.
Yeah, that was one of the main reasons why I stopped boxing, because I felt my speech getting a bit slower when I was training
Okay.
and stuff, and
Yeah.
it wasn't noticeable. I don't think it
Yeah.
was just more I wasn't as alert, and
Yeah.
I was
Okay.
sitting there going, "This can't be good for me." Like I'd finish work, go training, and then
Yeah.
like spar a few rounds with someone, and then the next day I'm sort of sitting in a meeting, and I didn't know if it was the exhaustion of like the adrenaline that means you don't really sleep or anything, but I thought
Yeah.
that all just on a very minor scale was coming through. But yeah, and obviously there's like terrible tragedies that happen,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
do you have any kind of effects of that in day-to-day life now?
I did for a long time, and what I think I would say now is that I know how to like with any injury, I know how to manage it. So it's like if you had a sore quad, you wouldn't then do loads of squats and run and then expect it to be fine. So same with my brain, like cognitively, if I stress myself out, if I'm doing loads of things at once, if I'm trying to focus too much, then yeah, I'm going to get a headache. But it's like just knowing that, recognizing it, and giving myself time and just workload and management and everything. But I've had tests since, as in like MRIs and stuff, and nothing, like everything's showing as normal. So yeah, I'm not too worried about what happens later, because I think that technology will like like medical things will have like improved and things. So and all signs so far are positive for me. And also I had the benefit of being an amateur for a long time. So I wasn't every single day doing contact. We were doing contact Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. So, and on the wing, not taking as many. So although I had a lot of concussions, they were spread out across a 14-year career. So rather than all in kind of one go, but it was definitely the right decision. It's just, I had enough of my fair share of them, and it was time to stop. But yeah, rugby gave me a lot of fantastic things and like great memories, and not just about, because we had our 10-year reunion for the World Cup just gone in August, and meeting up with everybody, like the stories that you talk about and the memories that you have, they're not on the pitch. That very rarely they are. It's not. It will be maybe at training, someone's done something funny, or like in the changing room, or it's just those moments where you're on tour and you've got your downtime, and it's all of that, and that's the camaraderie that you sort of love and miss. And it's what a lot of amateur rugby players now who have retired struggle with, I think, as well. And we've actually just we've got a new rugby rebuild on Instagram, which we want to create a community for former rugby players who maybe want to get in shape, but because rugby's finished, they just, they've just always done rugby and now that's gone. They don't have that option. Creating a cool community where people just come along, they get it because they're all former rugby players. And then from our side of things, like giving that advice and tips and nutrition and training and all of that. So definitely, if any rugby players are listening to this, like check out Rugby Rebuild, because it's just a cool sort of place that you can go as former rugby players.
I love team sports. Like, I absolutely love being part of a team, and so much so that I actually try and not turn up to things because I know what I'm like, and I'd have to not let the team down and be there every week.
Yeah.
With rugby clubs, very kind of knowledgeable football clubs, because I've been part of one for a long time. And to put it into context, we were playing with a guy that's played 1,200 games for the club on the weekend, and he's in his 60s and got man of the match. He's still better than most of the younger guys that are on the pitch.
Amazing.
Does that happen in rugby? Is there like an age stop, or do you still get that kind of vets and super
you get
vets type?
but normally you have vets playing against other vets, like, so because when it is a contact sport, there is a level of, you've got your 20-year-old lad at uni, you wouldn't want him playing against a 60-year-old like dad of 4 or whatever, like it would but no, it can happen, and you do get definitely older players in the game, but I'd say most people, by the time they hit maybe late 40s, maybe careers going, like they're having to focus on that, they've got a family, they start to just get a niggle and then they drop out of it. So there's no big, and that's the difference, I'd say, with the professional game, where you're like, you have to retire because you're like, okay, I'm not putting myself up for selection anymore. Whereas I think a lot of amateur players will just drift out the game and then not necessarily get the support that they need when they're then missing it, because it's hard when, like, team sports are great, and so when you then miss that, it's difficult.
Yeah, I do find the camaraderie bit is never spoken about enough.
Yeah,
because that's, again, the fondest memories I've had has all been the crazy WhatsApp groups, the nights out, that sort of stuff that you can never quite write. Like it doesn't matter how many times you watch a Netflix series, you never quite get that. I'll never experience it.
Yeah, when you're in it, and even just stuff like because I went through times where we were professional, went through times where we were amateur, so I saw the whole game change. And we went to China for a sevens tournament, and Lydia, one of the other wingers, she just came up and she looked really upset. And I was like, we're at an airport, and I was like, what's the matter? And she just said, I just saw someone with a suitcase full of dead rats. And I was like, sorry, what? Like, and, just stuff like that, which just doesn't happen in like normal life. And you're like, okay, and like just silly, funny things that sort of happen. And even if they're awful at the time, you can kind of look back and laugh at it later, and you just go through this, you go through tough times together. Like, for us in our squad, we've lost World Cups. We've had moments where you could, like, get to the biggest stage and you haven't. And so that you go through a lot together. And with rugby, you do physically have to put your body on the line for each other. If you're not there to support someone, they get turned over, like all these different things. So I think that team element of it is massive.
And what was life like after rugby?
Right, so I retired, and being honest, I really struggled because I was Kat, the rugby player. I played rugby. I'd wake up in the morning, I would train, then I'd go and work, then I'd train again in the evening, and like for rugby, and that was it. So to suddenly not have that was just, I felt lost. I lost my identity completely. I lost my confidence because I was good at rugby, and then suddenly the thing you're good at is taken away, and you're like, what am I? And I remember being sat on a watt bike, and I was training, I was pushing myself to the extreme, because it's something just I've always done. And I was on this bike, and I suddenly just stopped, and I'm like, what am I doing? I've got nothing to do this for. Like, and I got off the bike and went to walk back up. It was during lockdown, actually, and I just walked back towards the house. And then I was like, no, actually, get back on that bike, finish that session. You're doing it because it's who you are, and we'll deal with what you need to do later. And so afterwards, I did reassess goals and have a look and come up with a plan for myself. But yeah, just that moment of you don't have to do this was a real like, oh yeah, like, and you sort of feel this like real sort of loss. But then I threw myself into like I have to keep busy and I have to be excelling in something. So I threw that into my business, and that was personal training at the time. And then during lockdown, that became online with the way the world went. So it was fully remote, which is amazing because we get clients from all over the world. I heard you say about your listeners being from Kenya, from New Zealand. We have clients in both of those countries. Like it's literally all over the world. And started this. So we have a body transformation program that helps people to lose weight, but not just that. It's more about getting good energy, feeling confident, like prioritizing yourself, making sure you're training for you, and all the benefits that come from living a healthy lifestyle, eating healthily whilst being balanced. Like, because if you look at my social media, like I've always got a glass of wine in my hand, but I'm also like, it sounds arrogant, but pretty jacked. So like it's getting that balance of like being able to try and get in shape and also enjoy yourself. So threw myself into that, and that grew and grew, and it's like doing awesome. Like I love it. We've now got 3 coaches that like amazing like coaches that work with us, and very happy clients. So yeah, threw myself into that, and rugby commentating as well. And now I just feel, I know it's a like when you're used to playing elite sport, the highs and lows are massive. And then when you don't play it anymore, you're more somewhere in the middle, which you feel is boring and something's missing at first. Whereas now I feel happy, I feel content, I feel good. And actually I don't need those massive highs, massive lows. And I feel really good in the middle of it with business, with coaching, I've got 3 dogs. Like, so that's like the life now. I've got fiance and he's great as well. Annoying, obviously, as like
I like the order of
as
that as
they
well.
all
Dogs
are.
first.
It is always dogs first. Yeah,
Yeah, it's definitely hierarchy in my house.
yeah, yeah. But I think if I sat there and said Mike's wonderful, he'd be like, ugh. So yeah, like, keep it grounded. It's all right. But yeah, so that's what life looks like now.
So let's talk about the program
Yeah,
and I'll give you a bit of background on the stuff that I've tried over the
yeah,
years. So
yeah,
I work in the recruitment industry, have done since I was 19. And throughout that period of time and throughout school, I was kind of up and down with different weights and the likes. And you've touched on something there about this kind of sense of not achievement, but a sense of contentness, maybe that,
yeah.
and I'm not sure that's a word, but we're going to roll with it.
Let's go with it. I like
Um,
it.
I've always felt that I've been chasing something,
Mm,
and with dieting, it's kind of an all or nothing thing.
yeah,
A
yeah.
previous guest last week, we talked about Hatton Syndrome. So for years, I thought boxing was kind of my first stint being sober. The first time I trained, I had to give up cigarettes because I couldn't breathe. So
Mm,
it was like this huge, like, Ian goes out, gets smashed all the time, and works really hard and smokes cigarettes and does that sort of stuff too. Actually, let's start thinking about health. And that 3 months, I think I felt this like amazing sense of achievement that I got to that fight, be it 3 months of complete clean eating and not smoking and drinking and then knocking out a
yeah,
guy in 30 seconds seemed like a bit of a strange balance of time
yeah,
to reward. But yeah, and then I went through years of like, well, boxing's my savior, so I need boxing. And then every time I wasn't boxing, I was back not smoking, but definitely
mm,
drinking,
yeah,
definitely eating badly. And then as I've got older, it's been harder and harder to lose that weight, right?
yeah,
And we started this podcast as accountability. There was 4 of us at
yeah,
work that had this WhatsApp group that was the Belly Boys midway in every Monday, and it kind of just turned into like whoever's had the worst weekend.
yeah,
And we
yeah,
were applauding that, just like, you've eaten 10,000 calories in it for breakfast. That's
yeah,
incredible. And yeah, we've invited people on and we've done kind of loads of bit of advice. And at the start of the year, we started the first year was very much kind of understanding what what we are really, I think,
Yeah.
and then what our triggers are, what works for us, doesn't work with us, and it tends to go, if we're stressed, we're really bad at dieting,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
the bit that we haven't been able to crack. And the other bit is we haven't been able to find a balance with alcohol and weight loss to the point where
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer you can't lose weight if you drink, right? And it might just be me, but
Yeah.
I saw you post earlier about, is it gin and gains, maybe? Was that the
Yes, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So that was something about like Jim and Gin.
gin and gin, that's
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
because a lot of yeah, a lot of our clients that we work with are super busy. They do enjoy, say, a drink at a weekend, but they want to get in shape. And our thing is all about balance and trying to get people away from that all or nothing mentality, trying to help people with their stress response of like, because we're going to get stressed in life. Everybody's stressed. Like people are stressed all the time. Like, and I think if we're just trying to have this perfect 3 months or this perfect few weeks or even a perfect Monday to Friday and then let loose on the weekends, we're always on or off. And then actually trying to go, okay, no, this is life. So what do you want life to look like? So what do you want to be able to do? Do you want to be able to have a beer or a glass of wine with your significant other or your friends at a weekend or catching up with boxing mates, all that type of thing? If you want that to be part of life, but you also want to be fit and you don't want to be out of breath walking up the stairs or, having those moments where you're bending down to put your sock on and your lower back hurts because you don't ever stretch or move, like these type of things, it's like, okay, so how do we get those things so you can have that all? And a lot of it is breaking the all or nothing mindset. Like, for example, I'm sure you'll have done lots of people fall into this trap of like the calories, and they will go, I've got this calories and this is what I'm going to do, and they'll stick to those calories even though they're really low, and they'll have it as a daily one. If they go over in that day, a lot of people just go, right, that's it, the week's done, and they'll just keep going over. Or someone goes, if it's a Thursday, for example, and they go over, they go, oh, I might as well start again Monday. Whereas if we try and get out of the start again, and it's just like, okay, I'm going to take my calories. So just for ease, because I'm bad at math, say it's 2,000 calories a day that you've got available to you, times that by 7, that's your weekly one. So if on the weekend you want to genuinely have like 3,000 or whatever it is that you're having, okay, cool. The rest of the week, you just take off 200 to cover that. And it's just how that then becomes that balance. So there isn't a need to start again, because it's actually, and say you go absolutely wild, you go on holiday, you have like excessive amounts over. Okay, so you're going to adjust that period for the next 3 weeks rather than over a week, because you'd have to go too low that isn't going to be comfortable. So I think it's nailing that I've got good energy most of the time and I'm enjoying myself, but I also enjoy my training, and like enjoying your training is going to be a key part of it. Because again, where people go wrong is they'll go and they'll beast themselves, they'll go to the gym, they'll do something horrific, the next day they can't walk, so they don't even move, they just sit in their chair and go, I'm so sore. And then actually you're burning less calories than if you've just gone and done a light session but still moved more and got so we do a lot of untraining people in terms of their mindset, in terms of that must beast myself, must diet really aggressively, to okay, well, you don't need to diet that aggressively and you don't need to push yourself that hard. There is somewhere in the middle where you can find that nice balance. Does that make sense? Is that
Yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah.
and by all means, we've been
Mm.
it's interesting to invite so many people on that do this for a
Yes.
job, because people have such different
Oh, they will.
views, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And for me, the feeling of doing a gym session where you can't breathe, walk,
Yes.
talk is like a sense of right now I feel alive, and that usually tends to kick off a good
Yeah.
period of time. But as I've got older, I just can't. I just get injured all the
Yeah.
time.
Yes.
So and playing football is an interesting one, because if I play even just one half, my back's aching, everything's
Yeah.
aching for the rest of the week. So exactly what you've just said. It's like
Yeah.
the I love playing football because I know that that's going to
Yeah.
get me moving. But I also sit there going, and my missus is just like, Sundays are miserable because you move.
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I find that difficult. I also find that the stress eating is the
Yeah.
bit, and I'm fully aware I'm doing it, but
Yeah.
I tend to overload everything. So I think sobriety is an interesting kind of angle for me, because
Yeah.
I then have the brain capacity to take even more on when I'm
Yeah.
actually at capacity already.
Yeah.
And then when I get to the point where every single second of my day has got something in,
Yeah.
that's when I'm going, well, when am I going to eat? So then any window that I get, I'm eating.
Yeah.
And then it's
Yeah.
like quick food that I can get my hands on quickly and this sort of stuff. So yeah, and trying to unwind all of that while you're still trying to work and do everything is
Oh yeah.
just a
It,
nightmare, right? So
it's a lot. And I think that people's habits take it takes a while to form a habit and it takes even longer to break it. So it's a case of, so for some people it might be if they're about to eat something, like, so a lot of what we do is we make people aware of their habits, and you mentioned earlier like triggers, working things out. So one of the things that we do in our first week working with someone is we get them to take a photo of everything they eat and drink for a full week. There's no judgment on it, there's no like you're expected to be perfect, they're definitely not set on a diet, they're just like, let's see what you do. Because actually just that act of looking at what you're eating, you will probably eat better knowing someone's looking at it. But also, instead of that boredom eating, instead of that bit of cheese that we eat when we're about to cook something, those type of things, we start to notice those little things that can really, really add up. And I think in terms of like things like the stress eating and something, like if you want something, have it, but you're accountable for having it. You're not feeling guilty of having it. There's no guilt that should be associated with food. Sometimes for some people, it might be actually go for a walk, 10-minute walk. If you still want it, have it. If not, then it might have passed and you go, okay, don't want that anymore. So it's what works for the individual, but it's not as easy as don't eat that or stop eating this, because that's not life. It's like exercise is easy because it's half an hour of your day. Eating is 24 hours a day. Like when we're awake, we're thinking of food. Like most people are like, even if you're not dieting, if you're not trying to lose weight, people think about what am I going to eat next. It's just as humans what we do. So it takes a lot to kind of rewire that in a sense and be like not guilty about food.
the guilt bit is interesting, right? Because when I go on holiday and you go to an all inclusive and everything, and I watched some videos recently of like a TikToker on on holiday, and I mean that is mental. I've never seen someone eat that much
Yeah.
for a week. Is it like physically can't be you can't be enjoying that. But as a bigger person, I tend to eat really healthily when I go away because I feel
Yeah.
it's like a chance to reset.
Yeah.
And I also feel there's like eyes on you.
Yeah.
It's like
Yes.
you're
Yeah.
at the kind of, which is probably years of stupid comments, right? But
Mm.
that kind of buffet table where everyone's staring at. I've got the
Yeah.
feeling as if someone's staring at me while I'm walking towards the desserts at breakfast
Yeah.
and this sort of stuff, which I never do. And even like drinking throughout the day, I tend to not drink as much when I go to these sort of places. And nowadays I see that as a positive because it's like a reset or or a de-stress that I
Mm.
need. But actually, am I actually enjoying that time, or is it more stressful because I'm thinking more about that sort of stuff while I'm on holiday? And in
Yeah.
theory, is that a chance not to? And I think it all stems from just years and years and years of stupid comments from people, which is
Yeah.
like, you're on a diet. Why are you putting honey in your porridge? And it's like,
Uh,
that is the
it's
last thing I need to worry about when I
it
can
is,
eat
yeah.
20 Kit Kats at the train station without even thinking
Yeah.
sometimes. Like,
It's one of my biggest bugbears, and for me, and I've been on, like, I've had disordered eating when I was a kid, and it was something where I sort of had this real fear of getting fat, and I underate massively. I got to the point, actually rugby saved me, because we had our nutritionist come in and said, look, Kat, you're going to get injured and your periods are going to stop unless you actually eat, which made me go, okay, I'm going to eat for performance and fuel my body. But when I was in that stage in my life where I was a bit fearful of calories and didn't have a good relationship with food at all, if I was eating something like I had a biscuit or something, just like one, guaranteed someone would come around the corner and just be like, oh, should you be eating that? Aren't you an athlete? And immediately I'd be like, oh, I shouldn't eat it, I shouldn't. And like the judgment that people get on eating food, like whether it's because if you feel people are looking at you because you feel bigger and people are judging it, or whether it's like, should you be eating that as an athlete? And now someone says that to me, I've got a really great relationship with food. I'm so happy with my relationship with food. Someone said it that's why I can eat it. Like,
Yeah.
and that's exactly why. And like, but why anybody has any interest in what someone else eats, unless you're someone's coach and you're helping them, and but otherwise, why leave people to it? Everybody is allowed to enjoy their food, and like you said, that one bit of honey isn't going to make a blind bit of difference. So just leave people alone. But it honestly is a big thing, I think, when I see it happening as well. And when you just see someone, like, people want to enjoy their food, they don't need anyone in their face, because you can see people just go like, oh, and then they, but yeah, it's like, it is annoying. And I still get the comments that people say like, oh, I thought you were supposed to be a fitness, but I am a fitness person. And I also eat cake, and I also have wine sometimes. What I don't do is have it every day, because otherwise I wouldn't be a fitness person, like you know, in the shape I'm in now. But yeah, so I can sort of, I know it's coming from different angles of it, but people judging people's food and you don't know that person's relationship with it, I always just think, just don't say stuff like, should you be eating that? Well, I'm eating it, so I've made the decision. So why are you asking? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it drives people into darkness, doesn't it? It drives people
Yes.
into solidarity.
Yeah.
It doesn't help at all. And
Yeah.
I've noticed with the weight loss community we've created, just getting on the scales is that first step towards trying to do something. And
Yeah.
there's loads of stigmatism around scales being like
Yeah.
that shouldn't be the only thing that does that. But
Yeah.
that anxiety just for someone to get on scales is like through the roof. And obviously I talk about it on a podcast, so I'm
Yeah.
super comfortable with it. But I do think that there's like a real problem in the UK where everyone's judgmental.
Mm.
And I do think that the darkness is the bit that is really difficult to come out of, because then you're secret eating or you're
Yes.
secretly starving yourself on the other
Yes.
spectrum of it all. And I just think that's all led by constantly worrying about what's right and wrong without the
Yeah.
person who's judging you actually know. Like, that's the
Yeah.
crazy bit. And it's like,
I
well, I don't put. There was a lady at the train station the other day. I was waiting for a train, and she was like talking about some guy who is meant to be on a diet, and then she went around his house, checked his fridge, found a load of chocolate and stuff like that. And he just like,
She's the weird one checking someone's fridge. Like,
yeah,
that's the thing
exactly, yeah,
here. But
yeah,
I think more people need to go like, well, that was weird that you did that. Like, rather than like, oh yeah, he shouldn't have, like, you know. And I think just removing yourself from that interest of what other people are doing and just focusing on yourself. And it's the same as when I think that a compliment to give somebody. So when people, so even though I do a weight loss program, it's what I do. But our focus isn't on the weight loss. It's about all the other things that are going to make you feel good. And as a byproduct, yeah, you'll lose some weight. You're going to lose body fat. You're going to build muscle. But a lot of the time, people say, like clients will say, "Oh yeah, people say I'm looking really well, and like my skin's good and all this," and I'm like, "Lovely compliment." But like in terms of like, if, because I had it when I lost a lot of weight after I played rugby. I went into a dark place, and people were going, "Oh, you look so skinny, you look amazing, look at your abs, you look great, you like this." And because it's rewarding, because people are telling you look so great, even though I had an awful relationship with food, and I wasn't in a good place mentally. So it's just that thing again, like weight is such a personal thing. And unless you know someone's journey, if someone's trying to lose weight, saying to them like, "Oh, you look fantastic. Have you lost weight? Great." If someone isn't trying to lose weight, it's not your business to tell them whether they look smaller or bigger or anything. Like, so I think just, yeah, keeping out of people's business, and unless they've invited you into that, I think is important. And because, you know, people are just, I get trolled so much, like on my like Instagram, like, and I respond back to them. So for being muscular, I'll get awful comments like, "Oh, you look like a bloke, like must be on roids." Like, and honestly, this is a daily thing. I will get people even DM it to me, like that it incites just hatred. And it's such a weird thing, but I think it always stems from somebody not being happy in themselves. Because if you're a happy person, you don't judge what other people eat. If you're a happy person, you don't message strangers on the internet and tell them you think their muscles are gross. Like, you just don't do that. So it's people's own insecurities, I think, that drive it.
yeah. I just find that so strange.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, what on earth?
Oh,
I don't know what you gain from that though.
I had a couple go viral. So one of them had like, I think 4 million views or something like that. And the people that it reaches I tell you what, because I'm in my nice little supportive bubble of people like, yeah, we love strong women, like rugby's great, like and all of this, and you help people, and it's great, you're encouraging. So suddenly the other side of the internet, that is just vile. Like I don't even look at it. I didn't read them, didn't matter. But other people would like reply on my behalf and stuff like that. But it can become like pretty intense if you read too much into it. Like opening it up, and imagine just open it up and someone being like, "You're disgusting." You're like, oh, okay, happy day to
Yeah.
you.
Well, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, thanks. Yeah. So I think you have to kind of, and this is my thing about like, actually don't worry about what you look like, worry about what you feel like. So if you're feeling good, those comments are going to bounce off me. If I'm in a bad place, then I'm going to put too much weight on what my body looks like. And actually it feels like it's about the body, but it never actually is, because once you're happy and you've got good habits and you're looking after yourself, you won't care what that scale says. You genuinely, like, I haven't weighed myself for like, people ask, oh, how heavy are you, or like, what, and this, and I'm like, I honestly, I have no idea. Like, I feel good, my clothes fit well. If my clothes start being too tight, okay, I'll tighten up. Like, because I'm slightly shredding at the minute, so I'm in a deficit. Whereas I've been in a maintenance or surplus for quite a long time, like building muscles. So the first time I went back into a deficit, I was like, oh yeah, this sucks. I went too aggressive with it, too low calorie, and I was really moody. Like poor Mike, I was horrific for a week. My training was rubbish. I didn't sleep well, and I just felt crap. So I reassessed it, because I thought about it and I was like, well, I'd never give a client that aggressive a deficit. So I don't know why I did it for myself, just because I was like, oh yeah, it's fine. And so I upped it, and I had more of a healthy range of like what I could hit, like with different foods. It could still meant I could enjoy myself, but still be shredding. And again, it's that finding the balance of feeling good. If you feel good, everything's easy. If you feel drained, tired, and it's too much, and you've not got enough energy, everything's going to feel hard. So I think nailing that energy side of things is what's going to be key to long term when you're looking to lose weight, of how you feel, and not beating yourself up if you go over on one day, or if one day you stress that, okay, that's okay, that happens sometimes, but it's like, what's your next step? What's the next thing that you're going to do, rather than dwelling on what might have happened.
That stress eating's like, I could eat a scabby horse on a train home and not even realize it's gone into my mouth.
Yeah,
Because my
yeah,
brain's always so like deeply thinking about something at the time that
yeah,
I walk into the stop, buy something. I haven't even registered that I've done that.
yeah.
Let's say I'm looking for a train, and then I walk up to the platform and then just eat, 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 eat. And by the time I've got to the other end, I go, why have I just done that? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Um,
And because it's in that like 30 seconds. Like, and that's the thing, you can be good for 12 hours of that day, and for 30 seconds you realize, I didn't even want to eat that. I don't know why I've ate that. And yet we punish ourselves for that 30 seconds. Whereas for the rest of the day, we have to focus as well on the decisions we've made that are good decisions. Again, when people stress that I've missed one gym session, okay, but what do you celebrate, like when you have been, when say you've been really busy, but you've managed to make the gym, celebrate that. Be like, cool, that's something I wouldn't have done a few weeks ago. Or like, so having those, and not just giving up because we're not perfect, because no one is perfect. That's the other thing people ask me. They're like, oh, I wish I had your motivation. How do you stay so motivated? I really enjoy training, but like there are days where I don't want to go. And even though I know I love it, like I'm like, oh, I can't be bothered. But I go, and that's purely discipline. Discipline is why I go. It's not because I'm motivated. I'm no more motivated, I don't think, than anyone else. But by going regularly, you get all the benefits of it, and you know what it feels like to be in a good habit and a good place. So I think it's that, for some people, fake it till you make it to start with, and you just go and you commit to yourself and you go, I'm just going to go, I'm going to turn up, and have that out. If you don't like it, don't do it. Like that's one thing I use with people. If you really don't want to go to the gym, for example, I'm just using that, it could be anything, but you don't want to go to the gym, all you got to do is stand up. Once you're up, all right, might as well go put my shoes on. Just put your shoes on, and then you go, and you say to yourself, you're going to go for 5 minutes. 5 minutes, that's all you got to go for. If you don't like it, leave. And that's it's a promise to yourself. In 5 minutes, don't like it, just leave. But by the time you've got up, you put your shoes on, you've gone to the gym, are you going after 5 minutes? No, you're going to go. But to commit to, I'm going to go and do a full workout, you're not going to do that when you're sat on your sofa and you don't want to go. But committing to 5 minutes, and a genuine, like it is, you can go home after it, It's so much easier. So I think whatever kind of tricks you've got to use for yourself, I think, but it's all about, it's about the psychology of it. It's never about just the calories and the burning of it and everything. And that's, you know, the other thing when people are so heavy on calories in versus calories out. Yes, but it that is true, but it's also not that simple when it comes to real practical life. And it's how to make that the easiest way it could be.
Who are you targeting with your transformations? Is there a demographic of people that come to that, or is it just open to anyone?
Oh, open to anyone. I think most of our specialist thing that we have is the working with really busy people. So it's the person that's like, yeah, they're sat at their desk. Maybe they've got corporate jobs that they're just tied up into that, and they've neglected their health. And actually, by prioritizing their health, all the other good things that are going to come from it. So yeah, we you know, it's a range of people, but I would say busy people is a definite, and someone that just needs that accountability. And the biggest one actually, because I think people, when they like look at us and they're just like, oh yeah, she looks like she's gonna kick my ass, tell me what to do. It is in some ways to get started, but it's more about that support, to have somebody to go, oh yeah, that sounds like a really tough day. What I recommend doing is actually do this, focus on this for the next few days, do this, like just a day at a time, and having someone there reassuring you and like guiding and leading. But yeah, so I think anybody who need, like, it's someone that just needs that support to like get them kick started, and then once they're into the habits, then like, okay, cool, like this is great. And we work with a guy called Keith, and he's one of my like favorite quotes that he said. He was because he did the program, he's in his 50s. He said he felt 20 years younger. And he was like, oh, maybe 30s, like maybe 50 is the new 30. And I love that, because a lot of people, they go, oh, when you're 40, your metabolism slows down and I'll never be as fit as when I was. Actually, it's not true. And we have got clients in their 50s, some in their 60s, that are absolutely smashing it and feeling better than when they were younger. And it's I sometimes do the calls with people, because we have we have a consultation call to check it's going to be a good fit, check goals, everything that are in line. Because again, if someone said to me, I want to lose 20 kilos in 6 weeks for a wedding, I'd be like, not the one. This isn't going to work for you, because it's sustainable, and we take our time, we review, we assess, because we want this to be long term with it. So have these calls, and I'll get people and they're on there and they're like, yeah, you know, well, I'm getting old now, and I appreciate it's good. And I'm like, sorry, can I just check how old you are? They're like, yeah, 38. And I'm like, I'm 38. so I'm sorry, you're not telling me that it's yeah. And you're there like, oh, but like it really is one of those, like, use it or lose it. You can be 60 and not not independent, because you can't get up out your chair easily, or you can't carry your bag. Like I saw something that was brilliant actually about, like, when we help you go help your mum carry the shopping bags or whatever, actually let your mum carry them, because like for her, like it's like, yeah, keep doing that, keep being independent, like help, like what we think we're doing to help people, actually keeping people active. They're then going to have your grandparents who are like active and doing things and looking after themselves, and that's like a real positive.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely saw that throughout COVID. There was a big COVID was a weird time for me, because I just gained so much weight, and it's because I was just sitting around doing nothing, and then I got
People went
addicted
one
to
or the other.
walking. Yeah, and
Yeah,
then it was
yeah,
the opposite. The lockdown two, I think, was fitness. Lockdown
yeah,
one, I just completely lost my head.
yeah, yeah.
With your transformation, how do they do it? Like, how do you have a website, or how do
Yeah,
you?
so on all my social media platforms, there'll be a link which you can come through and like book in a call, or always free to, my DMs are open, so like DM and chat. But it really is a two-way thing. So it's very much having those calls. I speak to everybody who goes through to our program. Like, it's me that does the calls, check it's good, because it's important that we have people that get good results, but also are saying wonderful things about us, which is obviously very nice to hear. Because when people ask about how's business, I'm like, oh yeah, clients are really happy, and our coaches are really happy, and that's how I view a solid, good business. So yeah, so any of those, I think any of the links, which I'll share my socials, so you can put them on there, or yeah, DM.
And the coaching, is there like a package you sign up to, or how does that work?
Yeah, so 12-week program that we run. we've got a new rugby one as well that we're doing at the minute, which is really cool. Like as I mentioned for the rugby rebuild, we've actually got program for that as well. So it's that kickstart to get you up and running. But what we aim to do is over those 12 weeks, you learn everything you need to know to keep it off forever. Like one of our very first clients, Kathy, she's a man, and she lost 4 stone and she kept that off like 4 years later. So these are the stories that we want. We don't want someone who lost X amount as quickly as possible and put it all back on. We want someone that's lost 4 stone or 3 stone or whatever, over a period of time and then managed to keep it off.
Yeah, that is. So is there like a graduation type phase to it all as well?
Yeah, so we've got like we have clients that after 12 weeks are ready to go and smash it, and they just go off. But we'll obviously check in and see how they're doing every now and then, and we'll get clients even now messaging from years ago, hitting PBs or telling us that they're cool things. Some clients choose to stay on with us because actually, even though they know now what they're doing, they just really like that support, and it's there, and it's, they're busy at work, and actually just someone being there and being like, yep, they know it works, they stick to it. So there is options there for continuing as well.
Interesting. I've got some questions.
Yeah, go
So
for it.
Alan from the community, he has 2 young daughters that have got in, that twins that have got into rugby, very keen, under 12s. What he's asked is, what's a typical kind of day in the life of a female professional rugby player?
So there's I was sort of semi-pro. So when I was professional, but it was like it would be like a 3-month block. Then you'd go back to normal life for 9 months, and then you go back in again for like 3 months. So it's quite different, I imagine, to how the women are now. But for me, when it was professional, the biggest thing, the difference was the recovery that you got. Because when you were when you were amateur, I would train in the morning, I would work, I would train in the evening, and that would be on repeat, and you just didn't get any recovery. Whereas now, the women definitely have more time together, you get that recovery, and you get the downtime, which I think is where you make the improvements. But it sounds like they have fun. Like when I go in and speak to them, or I see them on camp, if I'm in and doing commentary and stuff, it just sounds like it's a really nice balance of getting your strength training done, doing your speed work, doing obviously rugby skills as well, and then team training as well. I think my time that I remember from it, when we talk about memories and like good and bad, so many meetings, like too many for me. Yeah, the decision makers love it, the 9s, 10s, but the wingers, we just sit there going, I just want to run fast and score tries. So,
Yeah, fair
so
enough.
that would be one.
I remember when I played at school, we had 2 like England. They were sprinters, and that was exactly our whole strategy was just get it to them, let them run.
Yeah,
It's not much else to think about. Yeah.
As a wing, that's all I want to do. I don't want to think about as a coach. But at the time as a player, I'd just sit there and just go a bit like, I knew it was important and you've got to be there, but I just not my thing.
And he's asked, what age would you recommend someone to start weights?
Yeah, so I think this is I think like there's a lot more stuff like there with the CrossFit and getting kids in and teens in and doing more. I think it's about like building up body weight strength first, and those movements, nailing them down and just moving well. You're not loading kids up with really heavy stuff, but I think getting into it sensibly, like, it is the important thing. But I think it's changed. It used to be like, don't do weights until you're 16, but that changed, that viewpoint has changed now, and doing it younger, safer, and showing people how to do it is the most important part.
Fair enough. Kat, how do we find you? What's your tags, that sort of stuff? I'm conscious that we've got a minute left.
Yeah, okay. So Cat Merchant 14 on Instagram, and then on LinkedIn. Should I send you a link for that? But that's
That's fine.
my profile on LinkedIn, which we're linked on.
Lovely. Well, thank you very much for coming on, and I'll add you to our community. I'm sure they'll have loads of questions, and I'm sure there's some people who would love to join the program.
Yeah.
And yeah, thank you very much for coming on. It's been a real insight into the day in the life of a rugby player, but also I think your transformation sounds bang on. I think that's the hardest bit to get right, and I think there's a lot of fatigue out there from very enthusiastic PTs that kind of want to drill you like an army sergeant, and as someone who's working, this last thing you need is someone else shouting at you. Like,
Yeah, definitely. And our community is, the idea is we put out a lot of free content as well. So there's free resources like for everybody. So anyone who comes across, even if they don't join a program, that's not an issue. It's that they are welcome there. We put a lot of no nonsense, like meals, healthy things. So people are going to get value over coming across, like, regardless. So yeah, that's for you to know, is nice that you're like sending people over and they'll get good value.
yeah, lovely. Kat, thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much. All right. Nice to meet you. Take care.
Nice to meet you too. See you soon.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye 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 bye.
We've got some diet plans, health scans, sugar bans, fitness fans, PTs, injuries, laying off the Chinese, ball games, gym chains, protein gains and skin tight tops, and we ain't gonna stop until we hit the 50k. Drop, 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 drop. No excess fat, no FAT, no curry back, no guarantee. Rough or buff, lean on me. We'll end up as fit as a pig.